We're talking about a game changer, something that will dramatically change the landscape of the automotive industry. Just as we once shifted from making looms to producing automobiles, something massive is happening at Toyota. A breakthrough so disruptive it could collapse everything we know about electric vehicles. Toyota has a strong relationship with Tesla, and is even a significant shareholder. Patents are being filed and prototypes tested under complete secrecy. At the center of it all is a bold claim from Toyota's CEO that this could be the beginning of the end for the entire EV industry. But why is he so confident? Let's find out. The silent revolution in the EV world started subtly, a murmur in the auto industry. It soon grew louder, culminating in a statement so audacious it sent shockwaves throughout the entire sector. Toyota's CEO declared, "Our new engine will end electric cars." These rare earth magnets create powerful magnetic fields in compact spaces, providing electric motors with their impressive torque and efficiency. Here's the catch: over 85% of global rare earth processing is controlled by China. This isn't just a number, it's a strategic chokehold. China dominates mining and refining capacities even for rare earths mined elsewhere. Australia has the resources and the United States mines some, but China controls the refining spigot. Moreover, China has implemented export quotas, tightened environmental regulations, and hinted at strategic supply curbs in response to international tensions. Despite their forward-looking message, the global EV industry is built on geopolitical sand. A disruption from trade wars, policy shifts, or conflicts could ripple through the EV supply chain like an earthquake. The rare earth market is also volatile. Between 2010 and 2011, prices for neodymium and dysprosium skyrocketed by over 750% after China cut export quotas. Automakers panicked, and governments scrambled to rethink their supply chains. Although prices have since stabilized, unpredictability remains. The true cost of rare earth mining goes beyond dollars. Extraction often results in toxic waste, water contamination, and radioactive byproducts. In places like Inner Mongolia, entire landscapes have been scarred, rivers poisoned, and farmlands ruined. Communities have been displaced. Calling electric vehicles clean carries a dark irony when their components are sourced in ways that devastate ecosystems and labor. In less regulated regions, mining operations have reported unsafe working conditions, low wages, and exploitative practices. In the race to electrify, many consumers unknowingly support unethical supply chains. To counter this, several countries are trying to diversify supply. The United States has labeled rare earths critical minerals and is investing in mining and processing projects in California and Australia. Deep-sea mining has also gained interest, where rare earth deposits lie on the ocean floor. But these options are costly, years or even decades away from scaling, and bring their own environmental and ethical issues. Recycling rare earths from old electronics motors and batteries offers promise but is still in its infancy. Recycling rates remain low, and infrastructure for large-scale recovery is underdeveloped. This raises a vital question: is the current electric vehicle model truly sustainable? The narrative often simplifies electric vehicles as a straightforward switch from gasoline to electric, pollution to purity, but this overlooks the complex, messy industrial realities behind the scenes. Yes, electric vehicles reduce tailpipe emissions, but the journey from raw mineral to motor reveals a far more complicated environmental ledger. This brings us to Toyota. For decades, Toyota has chosen a different path, championing hybrid vehicles rather than plunging fully into the electric vehicle race. Critics once called this cautious, but now it seems like foresight. Toyota's strategy reflects early recognition of the resource bottlenecks, geopolitical risks, and inconvenient truths beneath the electric vehicle hype. They didn't just hedge bets, they saw the writing on the wall. The race to zero emissions won't be won solely by charging stations and lithium-ion batteries. It requires innovation that solves the core problems instead of just shifting them. Digging deeper, we encounter another critical issue: the weight of the battery. Today's lithium-ion batteries have an energy density between about 250 to 3,000 watts per kilogram. That sounds impressive until you compare it to gasoline, which packs over 12,000 watts per kilogram. Even accounting for inefficiencies, the difference is staggering. Hundreds of kilograms of batteries are needed to match a single tank of gas's energy output. This is not just a technical detail, it's a fundamental roadblock. Pushing for higher energy density is a trade-off involving safety, longevity, and cost. More energy-dense chemistries tend to be volatile and prone to overheating or fires. Experimental breakthroughs make headlines, but commercial scalability remains a steep challenge. Even accepting these limits, infrastructure is another massive hurdle. To replace the global fleet with EVs, we'd need a fast, reliable charging network accessible everywhere, from cities to remote rural areas. Today, we're nowhere near that. Public fast chargers are scarce and clustered in wealthy urban centers. Home charging is fine for some, but what about apartment dwellers, rural families, and delivery fleets in remote regions? Building such infrastructure demands billions in investments, coordinated policies, and years or decades of work. Even then, charging times of 20 to 40 minutes are far from the 3 to 5 minutes it takes to refuel gas tanks, creating psychological barriers for many drivers. Adding larger battery packs to extend range increases vehicle weight, which reduces efficiency. EV batteries can weigh between 900 and 1,600 pounds, nearly a third of some vehicles' mass. This extra weight affects handling, braking, and suspension wear, consumes more energy during acceleration, and ironically shortens the range that bigger batteries are supposed to increase. Furthermore, the electric grid faces strain from mass EV adoption. Millions charging simultaneously could cause blackouts and soaring electricity rates without major upgrades. Renewable energy integration helps, but adds intermittency challenges since solar and wind are not constant. Utilities experiment with smart charging, but adoption is slow and grid modernization is a generational project. Batteries also perform poorly in cold climates. Sub-zero temperatures reduce range by 20 to 40%, and charging times increase due to slower chemical reactions and extra energy needed for heating. Unlike gasoline engines, EVs must use battery power to keep warm, further reducing range. These practical limitations affect commuters, families, truckers, and delivery drivers, each with different needs. Here again, Toyota's approach stands apart. They believe in electrification. They pioneered hybrids since the Prius, but recognize a simple truth. Not every region, driver, or use case fits the one-size-fits-all EV model. This might prove visionary. If batteries alone can't carry us into the future, what can? This leads to bold, exotic technologies that could redefine energy storage and propulsion. Lithium-ion chemistry, developed in the 1980s, has limits. Engineers and energy visionaries now explore next-generation storage and propulsion systems. Toyota has invested over 2 decades in hydrogen, producing the Mirai fuel cell vehicle. They believe in a multi-pathway future where hydrogen plays a key role. An even more intriguing option is ammonia, a nitrogen-hydrogen compound used widely in fertilizer production. Ammonia can be a carbon-free fuel, easier to store and transport than hydrogen, usable in internal combustion engines or specialized fuel cells. However, ammonia is toxic and corrosive, and combustion can produce harmful nitrogen oxides unless carefully controlled. Researchers are developing cleaner combustion and fuel cells that convert ammonia directly to electricity. If successful, ammonia could power long-distance transport with minimal carbon footprint. Synthetic fuels or e-fuels also offer potential. These are liquid hydrocarbons produced by combining green hydrogen with captured carbon dioxide. E-fuels can run existing engines and use current infrastructure, allowing decarbonization without replacing entire vehicle fleets. Porsche, Audi, and others have pilot projects, but e-fuels are currently costly and energy-intensive. However, with cheaper renewable energy, e-fuels could be viable, especially in aviation and shipping where electrification is tough. Toyota's refusal to fully commit to EVs isn't resistance to change, it's an acknowledgement of complexity. Instead of betting on one technology, Toyota has developed a portfolio. Hybrids, plug-in hybrids, hydrogen fuel cells, synthetic fuels, and now solid-state batteries. Their message is clear: the future of clean transportation won't be monolithic. Different regions have different needs, vehicles have different roles, and no single solution, not even the best EV, can meet all demands alone. Globally, governments vary in their approach. Some mandate all-electric futures like the European Union, which plans to ban new internal combustion vehicles by 2035. Countries like Norway and the Netherlands aim for even earlier deadlines. In Europe, battery EVs already make up a large share of sales. Meanwhile, the US is more cautious. Federal tax credits and state initiatives encourage EV adoption, but rural and middle America remain skeptical, with limited charging infrastructure and cultural resistance. China is the world's largest EV market, with heavy government subsidies and infrastructure investments, yet it also supports hybrids and fuel cell tech. Toyota's multi-technology approach is better aligned to adapt across these diverse markets and political landscapes. In sum, Toyota's bold claim about ending electric cars is not an anti-EV stance but a call to rethink. The EV revolution is real but incomplete, hindered by critical material shortages, infrastructure gaps, environmental and ethical concerns, and technical limits. Toyota's new engine and its strategic multi-pathway approach challenge the simplistic narrative of battery-only clean mobility. Instead, they push toward a future where clean energy comes in many forms: hydrogen, ammonia, synthetic fuels, and batteries, all tailored to diverse needs worldwide. This is not the end of electric vehicles but the beginning of a broader, smarter, and more resilient revolution in how we move.